Hello and welcome to the 1912 Exiles podcast, the original, the biggest, the best Newport County podcast made by the fans for the fans. Now, we are brought to you by the Terrace Cymru podcast network and in association with the wonderful team at the Riverside Sports Bar in Newport, the city's home for live sports, with a great menu to get your burger fix. I'm your host, Jamie, and I'm joined this evening by the creative genius of Alfie. Alfie, how are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Lovely stuff, and the indomitable wit of Mr. Jack Halpin. Jack, good evening.
Hello, you're sounding very chipper. Let me bring you down a few pegs before we start to discuss the Accrington game. Jesus.
Yeah, you know what? The intro, it's because we've got such wonderful partners on the podcast. It's hard not to be chipper when you're talking about the Riverside Sports Bar. But unfortunately, yes, we do have to get through a week of, now, is turmoil the right word? I mean, there are other more expletive words, but I don't want to have to wheel out the swear beat just yet. But this week we've had a couple of matches and a transfer deadline day. And I fear we may end up repeating ourselves in each of these. But first, let's just dive straight in, shall we? Let's get to that 4-1 reverse at home to Accrington, which was all last Tuesday now. Now, I mean, it's a 4-1 loss. Yes, we had a red card in the second half, so kind of game was done and dusted probably at that point. But Jack, maybe I'll come to you first. I mean, how many games can we keep writing off as those individual errors that cost us? You know, it was a bit of a defensive clown show, wasn't it?
I don't think the red card has anything to do with it. It was silly by a Poku. He was wound up. I get it, but it's. People talk about what the biggest problems are, and it's hard to throw a dart at a different area other than the defence for me. And it's not just the defence, but it's the anchor point between the defence and the midfield. So, for example, it just feels like the flood of goals coming in at us at the moment is pretty much down to a disconnect between that sort of cartilage that should be Brennan, that was Sammy Braybrook, right? So Brennan offers these really awkward passing angles for the centre-backs who are already under siege. And it just feels like most of the goals we're shipping is for this disconnect between centre-back and Brennan, or whoever's job it is to sort of give an outlet for a centre-back or a left-back or a right-back. It's just not there. There's a massive disconnect. So fluffing lines and people getting annoyed at basic football tenets like clear the line simply. I think it's part and parcel of they don't have the outlet from the back. We used to have it with Sammy Braybrook, and he would offer lovely little angles, and you could get away quite cleanly to a point because we weren't even that great with Sammy. But without him, it's mistake laden, Jamie. It's really consistent. We give that ball away on the edge of the penalty area. We've either scuffed a pass, missed a pass, or failed to clear lines. And it's so basic. And all the goals that we've shipped, Bristol included, we'll jump to that in a bit, but especially for Accrington, it's just absolutely foul. And it's, you know, I think we're getting well scouted because a lot of teams like to try and get through Driscoll Glennon, who just seems to be a player that we've got on the books because he's good at corners. But if you get him outside of his comfort zone, beyond maybe I'm thinking halfway, a bit more advanced, which is what you want your left back and your right back to do, is to offer attacking nous wherever they can. He seems to just, even if the passing lane is blocked, Driscoll Glennon will try and fire it through about 2 sets of legs. It'll come off a set. We'll turn it around. We've forgotten how to defend. We're chasing back. Scuff. Miss pass. Gone. It's a frigging nightmare. And I'm at a loss on how to fix it. That's my main frustration is just getting it out from the back. And you'd think that, as I'm getting reminded on a weekly basis by my Swindon loving cousin Joe of the Low Stranger podcast, out in Wiltshire, you'd think for a Premiership winning centre-back, the last thing you'd have a problem with is not just defending, but the basics of defending. simple passes to get it out, simple clearances. It is absolutely doing my boxing at the moment, Trey.
Yeah, it's been a feature of, well, probably a feature of most of this season, but a feature of the last two games in particular. And yeah, I was screaming, clear it, clear the damn ball so many times. But yeah, maybe it is the likes of Brennan or the midfielders just not offering that outlet, because we're probably still trying to play that sort of possession-based game where, I don't know, maybe the defense is encouraged not to just hoof it 60 yards up into the air and then, just get rid of that pressure, because we're trying to sort of build something, but perhaps we just don't have the outlets, the options, the ability to do that at the moment. I mean, Alfie, what's your take on these sort of defensive lapses?
I mean, how many times are we going to hear we have to do the basics? We have to do this. Like, if they're professional footballers, they should be learning the basics at like age 7. Like, it's just annoying. Like when Fuchs, battered 3-0, he's like, "Oh, we got to do the basics." Well, yeah, we're 23rd in the league. Like, you need to change something. It's just, I don't even know where to go, like, or what to say. It's just, I agree with Jack. Like last Tuesday's game, I was going into it thinking, we just beat Chesterfield. I thought this could be a massive week for the club. I thought we're going to win tonight, and 2 minutes in, 1-0 down. I just thought, yeah, that just sums us up. And I thought the game was there for the taking at 1-1, and then we just collapsed. And then the red card, and at the end, it was just laughable. But it was just so poor.
I mean, yeah, it was poor. It didn't really improve much on Saturday either, with a 3-0 loss at Bristol Rovers. I think for probably at least some of this season, I thought, at least the defenders on paper, we've spoken a lot about how well Lee Jenkins has come into the side and how committed he's looked. Obviously, we loved Clarkey and his experience and his love of the dark arts before he retired, and then of course we brought in Ryan Delaney as well coming in there, and we've got Matt Baker, who's had a lot of experience. So on paper, you look at them and you think, these guys, they should be able to at least, as a back three collectively, be able to shield their goal and probably defend a little bit better. And particularly when we're not creating much at the other end either, you need someone to kind of step up and just lead the way. And I feel we're just looking very, very lost right now. With Braybrook gone, with other midfielders just coming in and out of the side through injury, and we'll come on to the various transfers as well. I just struggle to see who is going to take this team by the scruff of the neck and just say, right, come on, lads, we need to stop this now. We need to just get a little bit more committed, get a little bit more I don't know, just care. I feel that we need something. I just need them to show that they're bothered by this run of form. They don't sit, I know heads drop, but they just do not seem bothered by it, and it frustrates me. And maybe that's unfair of me to say, but
one of the scary elements, Jamie, of that game was, so I was sat there start of this season. I'm really guilty of sort of looking at Matt Smith's CV, right, and saying he's done it everywhere he's gone. He's got loads of experience, bags of experience. He started when Sammy was with us to do the simpler things from deep within the centre midfield pocket, right? And it allowed Sammy Braybrook to be even more expressive. What Sammy Braybrook would do at the back and sort of quarterback his passes all game long, he could do that in front of an attacking three. And Sammy would then unlock Braybrook. Not Braybrook, that's his second name, Uden. He would unlock Bobby, and he'd unlock Spellman as much as he can try. And it seemed to go well. Now, obviously, we've lost Sammy, but Matt Smith is still a feature. He went off at half-time. We replaced him with Ben Lloyd. And I was speaking to Ed, and I was like, So who went off? Smith went off. Who's come on? Ben Lloyd. So, well, just as well, because I didn't notice him in the first half. As a man of experience, that is the type of character that we have signed, depending on them to be providing us a bit more than what they are sold as an experienced bastard of a centre midfielder. I know he's not a bastard, but he should have some sort of nous to grab a hold of, like you're calling for, Jamie, this team and do something with it. And it's just not working. And I think after Accrington, I know that my prediction was 23rd, but I haven't been officially worried. That was a bit of a gag. It was a bit of a joke. Someone had to pick relegation. It might as well be me. I am officially worried now, James. I am officially worried partially because of the January transfer window, but mostly because of, as you said, where are we going to drag this team into willfully doing the basics, as Alfie gets annoyed at, or just becoming some sort of mentality monster? It wasn't that long ago that Rodney Parade was a fortress and it was worth 3 points a month just on will alone. You'd will a victory into reality. But now, when I say we're not that far removed, what was it? First win since March when we won in November or something like that. That was dire. So we could slip into that easily again. I'm rambling because I'm actually worried we're going to go down, and I am starting to plot my away days in the National League.
Well, yeah, I mean the home form, we've spoken about that quite a bit, and yeah, we've had a couple of home wins, but we still only have 9 points from 14 home games this season. So what's that? 9 out of a possible 42.
And the mad thing is, Jamie, I don't entirely think the centre backs are that bad.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I think on paper, again, you look at the players that we have there, but they somehow still manage. I mean, maybe we can come on to the fullback situation instead. Maybe that's more of an issue, because I think, well, let's come to Bristol Rovers.
Please.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to, aren't we? Because if the centre halves are all right, maybe there's an issue at fullback. And yeah, I mean, look, we've said ever since he signed that and we got this from, I think, did he come from Grimsby? We got him from Grimsby or Morecambe or somewhere, and they said he's all right going forward, but defensively he can be a liability. And unfortunately, Anthony Glennon was at fault for 2 of those goals, you could argue, at the weekend, not clearing a ball, and just letting a man just run in behind him from what was, I mean, we could call it a great ball through from whoever it was, Rovers left back or whatever, but it was a hoof facing the other way, hoofed through, and he got through and scored.
And they hadn't scored. They hadn't scored a goal for 3 games before it, and they struggled to score much before that, and they're down with us as well. So to lose in that manner to them is a death knell. That's a bellwether. That is sign of going down. And I mean, it's getting louder in our group chat. I think you're on the dark side now. But
I'm very much on the dark side.
That goal was, I don't know if many of the listenership have played really old Football Manager, where they sort of just run like the robot across, the edge of the box and then turn around and it just goes in, and none of your defenders have done a damn thing to stop it. We did that in the Accrington game. That was the same thing. It was coming off that weak left side with Glennon, and it is just utterly. I really fear for the listeners of this one. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling, because we've got to turn this around, and Fuchs is there to prove himself, and Hugh wants him to do well, because obviously if he does great, then we can sell him on for a fee, because another club will want him. There's pressure there. There's stakes to play for. All these superlatives that we put on the importance of staying in League Two, and then they blow the whistle to start the game, and you just don't feel it. And I must confess now to you all, I did not watch that second half.
No,
it killed me.
Let's talk to someone who did watch the second half because yeah, I switched off halftime. Poor Alfie was at the game. Alfie, mate, well done for going. Did you watch the second half first of all?
Unfortunately, I did.
Now, do these kind of like feelings resonate? I mean, what were your thoughts like? I mean, let's talk through that first half for you. I mean, what were your thoughts, feelings? Did you feel at any point we were up for it? Because I'll put it out there. I'd say the first, and it's not a long time. I would say 4 to 4.5 minutes. I thought, oh, we've started all right here. Like we had a bit of the ball. I think we didn't really have any chance because I don't think we had a shot on goal. But I think we were in the opposition, getting into the opposition box a little bit. But then it deteriorated after
that. Yeah, so it was just one of those days. I went with my two friends, Logan and friend of the podcast, Mark Peplow. We got there like 25 to 11, so I thought so early. Got on the ground, and as the players were walking out, I thought we're going to win this. We're going to win by like 4 goals. I just thought we're going to do it. So I turned to Mark and went, right, I'm putting a 4-0 bet on. £5. It was like £800 return. 10 minutes in, I'd lost it.
Where did that optimism come from?
I don't know. I just thought like when they were walking out, I thought James Kroll's going to score and we're going to win 1-0. Kickoff, I thought we're going to win 4-0, and I just put it on, no regrets. And then the regret happened 10 minutes in. I don't advocate betting. It just hit me at the time. I thought I'm going to win £800 here, and I'd lost £5 within 10 minutes. But
did your
the
heart
first 5
sink?
minutes? God, sorry.
Did your heart sink when you just saw from when I could raise my head to watch it? It just felt like they had 5 players on our back 5, and it just pinned us back and back and back until we made a mistake. And I was just, here we go again.
Well, as soon as I saw Ryan Delaney make the botch clearance, I thought, get on Sky Bet, cash out now. And as I went to press it, they scored. And it was just game over from there, really. But no, it was... I was saying to Jamie before we started, it was worse than Boreham Wood. That was bad.
Oh, Christ.
But this was worse by a mile.
And Boreham Wood was bad. That was I was at that one, and I couldn't finish that game either. I think the other thing as well, particularly with the Rovers game, is just sheer ineptitude in terms of creating anything. I think obviously we struggled to keep it out at our end. We struggled to sort of shore up that defense. But then when we did have the ball, I think we just looked a little bit lost. And yeah, I mean, poor James Kroll up front. I don't think really he got the service, and I don't think you can necessarily entirely blame him. But I'm just having a quick look at because I can't remember the lineup now. But yeah, obviously Biggins and Brennan in midfield, Spellman and Cam were there, and then we brought on Lloyd. We took off Lloyd, brought on Garner. There's just, I don't know, there just wasn't anything there really to sort of, even like cling on to as kind of well, at least that was a bit of a silver lining. At least we had something there. There was
just no passion until the final whistle when they came over, and I think it was Liam Shepherd and Matt Baker went over, and fans venting their frustration, and they were I don't know what they were saying because they were over on the terrace part, but I don't know if it got a bit heated, but that's the only time they showed passion. But what annoyed me, you come over to clap the fans, and the manager was just behind the players. I just thought he should be dead center, sort of dragging the players over. I don't like booing. I don't like singling players out. But my mum said to me earlier, you should have heard what you were saying at the end of the game. I can't remember what I was saying, but it must have been bad.
Yeah. A question for both of you. Maybe Jack, come first. Christian Fuchs been now in charge. When did he come in? Was it November or was it even October? I can't remember now. Anyway, he's been in charge for at least a couple of months now. Have we seen any inkling of improvement, or that his tactics, his methods on the training pitch are having an effect on this squad?
$1 million question. when he first came in, and we had a few performances under our belt, he actually became an afterthought for a bit because we were playing quite well. We were getting results. Things were feeling okay. We didn't attribute them to Christian for some reason. It was just this magical spell that had, well, actually, it was Spellman, wasn't it? Because he's actually pulled some performances out of his rear end. But can you attribute that to a sort of new manager bounce? I don't know. I go to that sort of opening thematic to the year when we sort of see where our first dart landed, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, I just don't think the squad quality is good enough. They've all got their plus points, right? Cam was bright, maybe doesn't have the cleanest feet when it comes to final ball, but he'll get you there. Spellman, similar story, bit weak, not the cleanest of feet in the box, but you get you there. But it's just this general sense that you can't stay up with a League of Wales team, and a lot of these are League of Wales level talents, and no matter who you put at the top of the management helm, head coach, whatever you want to call them, they're going to struggle. And I don't think it's entirely down to Hugh Jenkins's approach of, trying to find talent on the cheap. We've been doing that since Priestley Farquharson. We've been trying it for a while, but it's catching up to us now, and it's getting to the crunch of it. And the only silver lining I've got is Biggins. Biggins seems to be one of those mentality monsters that is absolutely everywhere on the pitch and an absolute joy to watch. He is just everywhere all at once, and that's the type of player we need. But he needs to be complemented by passion. He needs to be complemented by people that bring the best in him. And, he's surrounded by Brennan, who gives confusing angles to centre-backs and causes problems after problems. He's got a very weak side in Glennon, bloody brilliant at whipping balls in from free kicks and corners, but not exactly great defensively. And I think it's really harsh to blame a manager, but at the same time, question his credential, because he's got barely anything other than when he was a player. And then you go further down that route again, and you go, well, what was his trade when he was a player? Bloody hell, he was a centre back. Well, then how are we so inept at the back? And I don't know. I struggle. I think honestly, on the face of it, we are weak on full-backs. That allows far too much pressure on the centre backs and far too much pressure on Brennan to be what he isn't. Is that Fuchs' fault? I honestly don't think so, hand on heart. And we've been down this road before with managers where we blamed the manager. Famously, lately, United sacked Amorim. Is it the player's fault? Is it the manager's fault? You never know. But the ownership will always easily blame the management. It's an easy scapegoat to get away with the poor running of the club.
Yep.
How do you balance that?
You don't. And I think, but at the same time, I feel, that there was a reason we made that change with Di Hughes, because we thought, he wasn't getting the best out of the squad that he had available to him. So you needed to bring in someone who could make a pretty instant impact. And, I think Fuchs, he's got ourselves a couple of home wins. He's got ourselves, some decent performances, but we've dropped silly points at, Gillingham. We've dropped points in many places. This
seems to be this is the fourth time of asking, though, isn't it, in the Hugh Jenkins era? And a very, very, very common feeling and thing that I hear a lot is, well, bloody hell, he must have done quite well with that group of players, which was Nelson Jardim. So when we had the first few results post Jardim, we go, well, Jardim must have been doing exceptionally well with them. And we said the same thing with Dye for a bit. We said the same thing about Graham Coughlin for a bit. God, he was doing well with what he had. Why do we keep on saying this? What is the core of the problem? Are we going to say it again when Fuchs goes? Oh, he must have been doing great. And the only problem with that is it can't get any lower than where Fuchs is at now, because next season it'll be a different league, potentially with a different manager, and then we'll probably will we be saying the same thing again, mid-table in the National League, saying, but yeah, Christian Fuchs did well with this lot. They can't even do National League well, because that's the trend line, folks. That's the trend line. It's been the same with points, and it's been the same with managers. It's the same old excuses that we chuck in and blame the managers. And Ian Street will back me, because he's been saying it since, our beloved Cardiff friend that I've forgotten. What was James? What was his name, James? What's the old manager that we sacked, young and
Robry,
James Robry, and we had that lovely bit of poetry bemoaning that we should have given him a bit longer and a bit of a chance. But there are so many spinning plates here, and unfortunately, it comes at the worst time, because the plate that may fall first is losing our league status, and we played around too long with it. At the same time, we got no budget. The trust haven't got any money, and neither has Hugh, because he's already chucked 2 million in. So where do you go from there?
Well, I think where you go from there is where we've clearly gone today, recording this on transfer deadline day, and we're desperately, seemingly trying to balance the books. Made some interesting moves. So, we talk about Fuchs or whoever doing well with what they've got, or the players and the squad that they've got. Let's have a look at the squad that he's got, because we've got a tough run of games coming up. I'm just going to run through them right now for us. So we've re-signed goalkeeper Sean McDonald after releasing him, which allowed Nick Zanev to go to Huddersfield Town. I mean, I don't know if we had a fee. Huddersfield say it's a free transfer, but either way, it looks like he was probably one of the higher earners on the wage bill, and he was out of favour. Jordan Wright was getting that goalkeeper's jersey, wasn't he? And we've shipped out quite a few on loan to various clubs. So Moses Alexander-Walker, obviously not one of the younger players, not getting that much game time. He's gone to Bath on loan. Jack Norris and Keenan Patton have both gone to Barry Town, also on loan till the end of the season. Those are confirmed. And apparently Corey Evans has said on his Insta, I'm bowing down to Ed Bridges' judgment here, the good doctor, that he's left as well, but we don't know where. So I don't think that's been officially announced yet, but Corey Evans says he has. The big one probably, though, is Kai Whitmore. I mean, of course, apart from Antwi going to Gillingham, Kai Whitmore released today, contract terminated by mutual consent. And he's kind of effectively been replaced by Sven Sprangler. What a name. Signed from St Johnstone on loan till the end of the season. Now, let's talk about the Kai Whitmore thing, because it's a really interesting one. Alfie, you and I were chatting about this. He was probably one of the first names on the team sheet under Di Hughes, but ever since Fuchs came in, he's played a bit, might have been injured a bit, but he seems to have fallen out of favour. And clearly, it's been enough for him to be, released, or agreed to release him from his contract. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's a bit of a probably like a hard one to take for a lot of our fans, really. Like when he first signed, I think 3 months into his contract, I was saying to my friends, like, we're going to get a fee for him. He's the next like Welsh Prem, League Two, and then onward sort of player. I thought I was thinking, I hope we don't let his contract run out, because it's typical county letting all the good players run out. But he's gone. Yeah, I think the Boreham Wood fixture ended a few of the careers at the county for some players. Zanev played his last game. Whitmore played his last 90 minutes there, I think. Habib played his last game there. I think Fuchs had a bit of an idea of who he wanted to get rid of, and it's been a shame, because there's been so many games since he hasn't played that he could have featured in. Bristol Rovers, he probably would have got sent off. Accrington probably would have got sent off. But we've just missed that midfield sort of, like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't really call him a general, but someone who just fly into tackles. It's a bit weird, and we've replaced him with this Sven guy, but I don't know too much about him. Knowing our luck, he'll play well for 2 games and then we never see him again.
Go on, Jack.
Old Spangle. Yeah, the Whitmore is a drastic end. So with drastic end means drastic reasons, maybe. Totally speculative, but on the grapevines that I may or may not have heard that he was a bit of a naughty boy and wouldn't take instruction. That is not reason enough for him to leave by mutual consent and terminate the contract. So, I'm thinking, well, why? Because you're just weakening the squad. So is it budget? Was it just basically because we needed a striker and Kroll and we've got enough midfield cover, potentially? Is Sven Spangler, which sounds
Spangler
like
Biggins Axis is going to...
Oh my God. Sounds like something out of an Adam Sandler movie, doesn't it? Old Spangler. Don't know anything about him, but I hope he's better than Kai, because Kai had those bright feet and actually clean feet in the final third. He would put away goals when you needed them, and he had enough of that on his county resume, more than anyone else in the midfield at the moment, I would say, on recent form. I would much rather him on the left wing even try him, or a right wing even try him, than Spellman or Bobby. But we stick with those two, and maybe it's just maybe that's true. They train better, but my lord, they not play as good as he does on his best day, and I would rather that. I'd rather the maximum of Kai turn up for 1 game every 4 than see what we've had in the form of the midfield that we've got at the moment. So to me, it's a bit bonkers. We don't know enough. Is it budget? Probably. And then Nick Zanev, too good to be a second keeper, not good enough to be the first team. And I think it's as simple as that. That guy is international, isn't he? He's going to be hungry for games no matter what. It's just in his nature. It's in everyone's nature, I guess. But yeah, he's clearly... He's been one of those picks that you're thinking, oh, all right, okay, keep him right out. It seemed like an inevitable return for Nick Zanev whenever he wanted it, and it just never occurred, did it? So I'm sure he was chomping at the bit to leave. But fee free is, I don't
who knows
get it
on that one? Yeah, honestly, who knows on whether it's a fee or not? But that's got to be a budget thing, I think. If you're not playing him, just ship him out, bring in a backup who's going to cost you a lot less to keep on the books in terms of in goal. But Kai Whitmore, I don't know about that. Must have just fallen out. That's the only reason you can see, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and let's be honest, we're about to turn around the corner and be in the sharp end of the season, and if we can do business and just happen upon a Biggins, then I'm happy. I'm happy to try. We need to try. We need to do it.
Yeah.
And but again, Whitmore was too good to let go, I think, for me.
Yeah. I mean, my worry is that we're a little bit light now in midfield. If you look at the players that we've lost this month alone, Braybrook's gone, Antwi's gone. I know people had mixed views on Antwi playing, but he got a lot of game time, didn't he? And now Kai Whitmore's gone as well. So we're leaving a lot of, I don't know, a lot of pressure is now going to be on Biggins, Sprangler. Sprangler's going to have to be one that comes straight into that team. And then perhaps with Brennan sat behind, if you're going to play a 3 like that. Or I don't know, maybe we move to, getting a few more players, bodies a bit further forward, and you're playing 2 up top, and you're playing, someone like a Jameson, if he can get fit, alongside Kroll. I don't know I don't know how it's going to work out, but I think it's going to work out pretty quickly, because, like I said earlier, the games we've got coming up, we had, Rovers was a tough one, but it was one against a team who are pretty poor in terms of their home form and the team around us. We're at home to Grimsby next weekend. Then we've got to go to Swindon. Then we've got to go to MK franchise. Then we've got to go to Salford before hosting Cambridge. So there's a lot of tough games coming up, and I don't know where that next win's coming from. Grimsby are on, they look great when we were up there. I think they were one of the better sides that we've come across against this season. Swindon are in the playoffs, aren't they? So, anyone have any idea where we're going to get our next point? Let me know.
It's you talk about where we're going to play the players and what formation, but then I know the manager is educated, but he plied his trade in the Premiership as a centre-back, and managerially has just experienced American academies. So if you don't have a clue, then I hope he's got one. But then, you look at Steve Cottrell at Cheltenham, is it? And they're in a minor free fall, and that's a guy that knows Cheltenham inside out. So it's topsy-turvy. Who knows? But yeah, let's put a wing and a hope and a prayer that Matt Smith's Jacob Cracker's knees don't snap, and he breaks his injuries sort of issues off and gets fit and healthy, because he came off crocked, didn't he? So and hopefully Spangler is just want to we need.
Yeah, just want to very quickly say, looking at those teams that were playing a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 9th in the league the next 5 games. Form guide, last 5 games, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. I think Grimsby are the only team. Well, even them, they're doing. No, Grimsby are up there actually. It's not great. Basically, is what I'm saying. Swindon are the team in the worst form out of those 5. That's going to be a tricky game away as well on a Tuesday night. So
we'll win them all. Knowing the county, we'll just win them all.
Love it, Alfie.
And in about 3 weeks' time, we'll do a podcast. We're going for the playoffs. Like it's just typical. We always. Well, we don't use it anymore, but we used to do well against the top teams, and I'd probably win Saturday, and all the teams around us would lose, and we'd be like, "Oh, we're only 1 point out," and it'd just be back to what it was 2 weeks ago. But no, in all seriousness, we'll probably get 1 point, and you'll probably be against Swindon, and everyone will be like, the Great Escape's back on, but not positive at all.
What do we call it? We called it Fight Back February last year, and it worked out. We somehow got, I think we got 4 wins on the bounce, on the spin, and that kind of saved us. Looking at the final table. So who knows? All right. I think, to be honest, I think that's enough misery for for one evening, isn't it? Before we go, just a couple of things to bring up before we get to shoutouts and beefs. The club have brought out a commemorative Morton and Marsh kit this week or last week. They shared it on the socials. We're having a look at the kit. Looks all right, quite nice, isn't it? But
it's very slim. It's very slim.
People were slim in the 90s, weren't they? So
not me at the moment. I'd have to shed some Christmas weight, because I don't think you could fit 3 pencils into that shirt. Not nice. For 70 quid, I wouldn't.
That's the issue. 70 quid for a commemorative shirt, and as nice as that is, I'm not sure they're going to get many takers for that, because I think a lot of the other commemorative shirts would probably go for a little bit less, around the 40 quid mark. That's you're trying to shift. If you're trying to shift some shirts and make a bit of extra cash, I think price it a little bit better, is my opinion. I don't know how much. Maybe it's made of like the finest silk in all the land. I don't know. As
someone who's got the shirt, I didn't pay.
Have you?
It was an early birthday present from my mum, who gets club shop discount for being staff. It is nice. I love football shirts, so every time the county release like a retro one or something, I've just got to get it. It is nice, better in person, but you're essentially paying like £30 for a box, which is on my shoe rack, and the top's in the wardrobe. So yeah, but other than that, it's nice.
It's one of those, isn't it, Alf? We'll probably crap on it from a great height now, but wish we bought one when we didn't a few years later. I know my brother just got back in contact and asked me if I still had the County Barcelona rip-off kit.
I wish I used to have that as a child. I don't have it anymore. I wish I still did.
And I had it, and I've had a few house moves in the last year, and I'm pretty sure I gave it away to charity, and I am absolutely kicking myself. So I'm sure I will buy one for 70 quid, even though it's a limited run. I'll probably get one in medium to force myself to shift this 20 pounds of chocolate and goose fat roasted potatoes.
Oh man, right, okay. And before we go to shoutouts, I've just seen we've got in the show notes, just let everyone take a little peek behind the curtain. In the show notes, Jack's random musing of the week. Jack, why have you got a random musing of the week?
Yes, I randomly had a look through the fixtures on FOTMob, and I wondered why every single League Two fixture is kicking off 1 minute after 3. If you are uninformed, it is because the EFL are partnering and have already partnered in the past with the British Heart Foundation with their Every Minute Matters campaign, which is all around basically the idea that for every minute someone goes into cardiac arrest, the survival percentage drops 10%. So it's very, very important that you understand how to give your loved ones CPRs, because one of the stats is for outside of hospitals, 8 out of 10 cardiac arrests occur in the home. So you're doing yourself and your loved ones a favor by Googling BHF Reviver. That's Reviver without the E on the end, REVIVR. And there's a 15-minute course that you can just watch for free, figure it out, and be all the smarter and safer for it. So I do urge you all to check it out. And if you're wondering why it was 1 minute past 3 against Grimsby this next game, that is why.
Wonderful. I'm going to do that. I'm going to Google that. I'm going to do the course. That's a really great idea. Yeah. Kudos to that for that campaign, that initiative. Right, shout outs and beefs time. Before I get to you guys, I'll just cover a shout out from the good Dr. Ed Bridges. And this is also, this is a shout out. This isn't a beef. This is a shout out because we talked in the last pod, of course, about the huge shock of losing our dear friend Ollie Allen. And in a week where we've all been, cross with the club about all the on-field stuff, it's only right that we say something good about how well they handled this news. On the playing and coaching side, we know that, I think CBR, David Pike were both incredibly active in their offers of help and support. Nick, the photographer, who is, good friends with Ollie as well, also did loads of stuff. And Amberani was particularly involved in ensuring that minute's applause was flagged with Chesterfield, the referee, and with BBC Radio Wales. Everyone knew what was going on, and the minute got the proper attention it deserved as well. I should say as well, I had a little chuckle to myself because I thought Ollie would have loved this. The 23rd minute just ticked over. I think we just had a shot. I think Camwa just put a shot wide, and Chesterfield's goalkeeper went down for a tactical tumble, which lasted an entire 60 seconds, and it was just perfect. Excellent timing. And I love that. And then it just allowed the whole ground to just sort of get behind that minute's applause. So yeah, loads of those people that I've mentioned, and others, they've also been really active in reaching out to the family as well. So we can all have our gripes about the team's form and results, but on a human level, everyone really stepped up at a time of real grief, and we should really thank them for that. So yeah, kudos to the club and everyone involved. Any other shout outs and beefs? We can segue into something a little more frivolous, I'm sure.
I tack on to that. Yeah, I know. It's one of those times that makes me fall in love with my club again, to see all the love and just that the organising that the club did to make sure that 23rd minute was heard by the family loud and clear. That message of support was just, a lot of people came up to me after. I don't know, my uncle Alid, who's a staunch listener, said, I was very emotional at that 23rd minute. And for a football club to be that family, that extended family, I felt that. And I hope that the Allen family felt it too. Very, very, very special moment. In a sad moment. So yeah, big shout out to Arnie, to David Pipe, who I know, like you said, has been very active. I think CBR was offering boots up in raffles, 57 tyres. So there's in the hospitality, there's a bit of a raffle that goes on. To my understanding, 57 tyres said, no, we don't want the prize, put it back in the pool and give it towards the proceeds of the GoFundMe, of which that is another warmth. And thank you to you all for giving to that. It is 5K plus. We'll probably keep it running until around the funeral date, but in perpetuity. But I can't thank you enough on behalf of the family, on behalf of us, that we are completely blown away and overwhelmed by not just his Newport County family, but his Lang O'Rourke family, of which he worked as a planner for them down at the Markham offices. So it's been a heart wrenching moment, but also it's touched many of our hearts, the response that we've had. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other shout outs or beefs, or should we?
I was just going to basically say the same thing. It was when the bus pulled in the Bristol Rovers car park, the first person I expected to see was Ollie. So that was like, it was just, and I couldn't stop thinking about it then. But, as you both said, the club did such a good job. And, I agree with you, Jack. Like, that is my club. Like, that is why I support this club. For stuff can happen on the pitch, off the pitch, but the way everyone came together, I think I said it last week, but the way everyone came together was just family. It's just one big sort of family. But yeah, I think Ollie would have laughed at our defending against Accrington. I think particularly the fourth goal, he would have been just in hysterics sort of thing. But yeah, I think that's it for me. I'd like to just say as well, I know on the pitch it hasn't been great, but I do want to say like the recent sort of media outlet from the club has been massively improved. Like I can see the match reports have gone back to normal English sort of wording and sentencing, and there's a lot more content. I know there's a new commercial manager, but it's just improved, and that's my sort of shout out for them.
Yeah, shout out to Sam Holdsworth. Congratulations, my son. You've made it from Newport City out in the League of Wales, and you've done well for yourself, and now you're the commercial manager. Now, that guy has brought a brand of Newport as a city and taken it to the League of Wales and made a success out of it. It's clearly a guy with a bit of nous and a bit of intelligence when it comes to that sort of thing. And if he is so inclined to be passionate about Newport County, more welcome should be offered his way. So if you're listening to this, Sam, well done, mate, and I hope you do great things for the county. Congratulations.
A shrewd appointment. Wonderful. Yeah. Right. I think we've managed to turn a corner into a bit of positivity after 45 minutes of doom and gloom. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jack. Go on.
Where's the beefs?
I asked if you had a beef. Do you have a beef?
Oh, I do. Yeah. So if you're still on the dead horse that is Twitter, or X or whatever, there's a group that started on there called the Hugh Can't Be Serious group, who have got a lovely bit of media design where they've stamped expired over the faces of the Trust Board and Hugh Jenkins. Now, come on. Wakey, that's not helpful at this time of the season. This please have a word with yourself.
Expired is a bit much, isn't it?
It's a bit strong, and it's a bit silly, and it's a bit juvenile, and I don't mind putting my neck out there and saying it, that it's not what we should be doing as a fan base. If you feel that strongly, get yourself down, sign up to the Trust, get in those really important meetings where you can get your voice in front of important people. And I don't want to be that person that says, you should stand up for the Trust and give up your time. Not everyone has it. I get that. But if you've got enough time to design that slick bit of media on there, and then you've got enough time to do something a bit more productive with your time. So that's my beef. And then we'll counteract that with a good thing. If no one in Newport has been to the Corn Exchange, this new venue that's co-authored by Le Pub, I went with Ed on Thursday night for a BBC Horizons gig. I watched The Rogues. I watched Himalayas, who are a fantastic band who've supported Foo Fighters in Australia. And I've also watched Slate in there, and it was fantastic. And I feel great shame that I haven't been in the Corn Exchange to support live music. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought for a capacity venue that size in Newport, I'm very lucky. So I will be supporting it evermore. And I encourage you all to get out there to whatever the gig listing says. Just go out and have a good time. It was, a very, very nice thing to have such a live music-y thing in Newport. It's a rarity, isn't it? You got to go to Bristol for these sort of moody indie gigs, and no more. It's in your back pocket at the pub, and it's in your face at the Corn Exchange. So yeah, good time had by all, and get yourself out there.
Perfect. Yeah. I think Newport's got a lot going for it these days. So yeah, let's give credit where it's due. And yeah, less said about the Twitter account, the better. Yeah, I'm not on Twitter these days, and I'm all the much happier for it. So yeah, right now, are we done with shatters and beefs? Alfie, I'm looking at you. We done?
Yeah.
Right, good. Okay, let's wrap it up here then. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Alfie, for joining me this evening. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Now, keep yourself subscribed to the 1912 Exiles wherever you get your podcast, even if it is on Twitter as well. You can keep us, keep abreast of things there, or on Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky as well. We're elsewhere. We're on Insta. We're everywhere. We're on LinkedIn if you wanna jump on that bandwagon as well. But yeah, really appreciate your support and contributions on all of those socials and on our Ko-Fi page as well. Yes, until next time, which will probably be after Grimsby, maybe after Swindon, maybe before Swindon, who knows. Until next time, look after yourselves, folks. Look after each other. And as always, keep it canty.